So let's talk about something really important. So I'm gonna be honest, one of the biggest reasons why I'm on this trip is because I like to live life. I like to enjoy life. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who probably have the same feeling about life. But 2020 was a very difficult year for me because at the beginning of the year, it was a time where I felt I could probably retire and walk away, though I was number-wise in age, I'm still very young. But when you count the amount of hours that I have worked every year, you could look at it. Let me give you this analogy. If you look at a car that's 4 years old or 2 years old and you think, wow, this is only a 2-year-old car, that car could have 150,000 miles. That means that in those 2 years, that car was worked or driven very hard for long periods of time. And I feel like that's how my life has been, because sometimes when I think about like my knees and my ankles, my shoulder, my back, like there's days it's very painful to get out of bed, like, of course I warm myself up to getting out of bed or, there's some reason or the alarm goes off, whatever, but I gotta get out of bed and I gotta go do something else. And, but I was getting close to that in 2020. And so I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna retire yet, I'm gonna give it another run, probably for another 5 years. And so the year went by and the year started, but I was sharing with my wife this the other day and I was telling her, hey, did you know I lost quite a bit of friends in 2020, and not all of them were to COVID. Some of them were to stroke or heart attack, or maybe even lost a friend to a motorcycle accident. And when I stop and think about that, I realize that, it's okay to work and it's okay to sacrifice for others, but it's also very important to make time for yourself. And I think that if we don't make time for ourselves, that, no one's gonna make time for you. Mostly if you're a leader, a CEO, a pastor, it doesn't even matter if you have a high position. It could be like could be a single parent. Sometimes you have to make that time for yourself. And maybe you can't take a trip like this. Maybe you can't travel the world, but you can push away and, maybe to take some time, go to the gym, go to the park, go watch a movie by yourself, buy yourself a popcorn and some ice cream and, just sit down and enjoy, what you have and try to be grateful. And, but yeah, 2020, it was a tough year for many of us. And I'm grateful that I made it out alive. I'm grateful that my family's doing okay. But I lost a lot of friends, and it was a very painful year for me. I had another year like that, and that had been probably 3-4 years ago. On that year, believe it or not, I had lost 17 friends. 17 friends in 1 year. And I thought I would never go through a year like that ever again. And last year rolled around, and by the time I was seeing who was left and who had survived, I realized that I lost 31 friends. Some were closer than others, and some were just a shock to hear that they had passed away. I couldn't believe it. Some of them were very, very painful because it was somebody that I was speaking to literally, like one day I'm just there talking to them. We're talking about doing life and taking a trip. And then the next day I get a call and it's like they passed away. And it was just very, very difficult for me. And so I'm out here on this trip and, I created a playlist that had songs from pretty much all these people that I knew. Like it had the Doobie Brothers, it had Diana Ross, it had some country in there, and Patsy Cline. Yeah, go figure, right? Patsy Cline was in my playlist. And there was a lot of music. I probably have over 100 songs in this playlist. And as I was driving on this trip, I was listening to it. And, as I was hearing the music, I could remember my friends and, everybody that I lost. And I guess in a way, by me experiencing life the way I do is just paying a tribute and just letting them know that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna continue to do the things that we talked about. I know you're not here. I know you may be in a better place. I know you're in a better place, but I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna take those photographs. I'm gonna go eat that food. I'm gonna take that boat ride. I'm gonna take that motorcycle ride. And sometimes the best way in honoring people who are no longer with us is by continuing to live life. I know if I was in here tomorrow, I would want everybody who I know and is close to me to continue living life and not to give up, because that's exactly what my wishes would be, definitely.